Okay, well, everyone who has arrived to this Zoom room, welcome. Welcome everybody here at the Swedish Foreign Investment in Mexico webinar that we are pleased to receive you here. This event being organized together with the Nordic Chamber of Commerce in Mexico, the Embassy of Mexico in Sweden, Business Sweden, and as well, in this case, will be Global Economic Drive. We are pleased to welcome you to this webinar. And let me first introduce to you, to welcome you to this webinar, the Ambassador of Mexico in Sweden, Mr. Francisco del Rio. Please join us on this webinar, please, Ambassador.
Thank you very much, Antonio. Good morning in Mexico and good afternoon in Sweden. I offer a warm welcome to you all and hope that this event will provide a better understanding of the Mexican market. I want to express my sincere gratitude to the organizers, the Nordic Chamber of Commerce in Mexico, Business Sweden, and Global Economic Drive from our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This webinar aims to bring Swedish investors and consultants closer to the Mexican market and show the installed capacities in Mexico for foreign direct investment processes, based on the experience and knowledge of the public sector, businessmen, and consultants. We also seek to present opportunities that Mexico offers in Sweden. One of my priorities at the embassy is foreign direct investment. I want to grow investment coming from Sweden. The Office of Global Economic Drive will explain the prospective territorial industrial atlas for investment attraction. I hope that I got that right, the translation. A valuable tool which aims to generate a strategic analysis that identifies manufacturing sectors with high potential for future industrial growth in Mexico. Among them, wind energy, pharmaceuticals, aerospace, agro-industrial, and petrochemical products. As part of its activities, this embassy has developed digital and in-person meetings with Swedish companies that are present in Mexico. In addition, we have worked with chambers of commerce, such as the Stockholm Chamber of Commerce and the promotion agency Business Sweden, to further the investments in several industries. This embassy has a strong relationship with Swedish companies operating in Mexico. Companies like Ericsson have been established in Mexico for many years. However, there is potential for improvement, and we aim to increase the number of Swedish companies in my country. There are opportunities for small and medium companies that can bring added value to the existing supply chains, or for companies which plan to start operations. Sweden, as a member of the European Union, has been a part of a global agreement with Mexico since October 2000. This agreement includes a significant free trade component. The EU and Mexico reached a consensus on the modernization of this global agreement, which addresses areas such as trade and sustainable development, intellectual property rights, and anti-corruption, among others, many others. We look forward to signing the final document and welcoming a renewed trade relationship with the European Union and particularly with Sweden. Mexico offers a network of 14 trade agreements which grant us preferential access to 50 countries and guarantees legal certainty for investments. Mexico also has a strategic location, being part of the most important free trade zone in the world, with the United States and Canada under the USMCA treaty. Sweden is the perfect case to link manufacturing centers in our country in order to bring industries between Europe and North America. Sweden can offer companies with expertise to close productive gaps in Mexico manufacturing chains. Sweden can improve the business environment incorporate female entrepreneurs into global markets, and insert Swedish suppliers in Mexican value chains. The importance of the EU and Swedish foreign direct investment in Mexico can be demonstrated through various indicators. Between 1999 and 2021, the EU's foreign direct investment in Mexico amounted to $179 billion, positioning the EU as the second largest investors in our country. Sweden is the world's 17th largest investor in Mexico and the 8th largest investor among the EU countries. Between January 1999 and March 2021, the accumulated Swedish foreign direct investment in Mexico amounted to $2.5 billion. Swedish investment was concentrated in the areas of manufacturing industries, construction, and trade. In 2020, Swedish foreign investment in Mexico amounted to $248 million, an increase compared to the amount in 2019 of $84 million. A record of 313 companies presented foreign direct investment flows from Sweden between January 19, as I said, and March 21. Some of the Swedish companies in Mexico include Autoliv, Ericsson, Electrolux, H&M, SKF, ABB, Sandvik, Scania, Volvo, Spotify, and IKEA. I am confident that the information which will be provided today will offer you a better understanding of Mexico's markets and opportunities, because we at the Embassy are convinced that Sweden continues to hold strong potential in Mexico. Lastly, I wish you a productive day and great success. It would be a pleasure for us at the Embassy to know that we have encouraged you to invest in our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for your warm welcome here at the webinar Swedish foreign investment in Mexico. For the people that have arrived, let's also introduce this following person. That is, his name is Arturo Valderas Gil. He's the president of the Nordic Chamber of Commerce in Mexico, and well, he's also worked for Atlas Copco in Mexico, general manager for Atlas Copco in Mexico. So please welcome Arturo Valderas Gil. Please go ahead with your words, Arturo.
Thank you, Antonio. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for this warm welcome to us. So good morning, everyone. Hello. I would like to split my presentation in two, and I will start saying that building on what the Ambassador already shared with us is we have, as Nordic Chamber of Commerce, different key initiatives. One of those are these ones, to create these type of spaces or forums to discuss or present this type of very important subjects. In this case, also we want to make more closer or to create a kind of bridge for these Nordic companies to our country, to Mexico. Actually, Atlas Copco is one example for that. So in the second part of my presentation, I will share with you some specific facts or some experiences that we have just as at Atlas Copco in Mexico. At this point, we want also to share with you all the installed capacity that we just have in Mexico. And together with help from the Ambassador Rio, also Business Sweden, and also I would like to thank to Impulso Económico Global for give us the chance to really present this to you guys, or to make it at least available for you, all for you on this webinar at least. Also in this webinar, part of the experience that I would like to share is not just Atlas Copco as a Swedish company. I will also share with you part of our business cases, part of our community, part of our values. So that is for us really important to share with you, to really motivate it, to really invest in our country. from the chamber or Commerce Chamber of Mexico or Nordic Chamber of Mexico, we also want to create or present this type of webinars and to motivate also these Nordic companies to really participate with specific topics or with all his experiences that make more fruitful all these relations that we just already have. We also believe in some things or values as a Nordic Chamber of Commerce in Mexico. We really believe on that together we can make community. We also believe on together we can make business. We really believe in the Nordic way, not just as Sweden, also as a company, as a country. We also as a part of our Nordic community. And also we together we can make our voice more louder. So this is the first part that I will share with you. And then I don't know, Andrea, if you can help me to share maybe part of the presentation that I prepared. I just put some slides together just to show you a little bit or a teaser about Atlas Copco.
Can you see it? Can everyone see it?
Yeah, now I can see it. Could you please put it in maybe in a presentation mode? Could be.
Yeah.
Ver in the menu, in the top of the menu. Ver.
Sorry,
Please,
sorry.
Sandra. Yeah. And
There you go.
modo pantalla completa, if you please.
There, you can see it now.
Yeah. Yes. Good. Thank you very much. So first, first of all, this is Mexico. This is a very nice picture. I can say that I will share with you guys. So this is a presentation for Atlas Copco Mexicana. I will start. Could you please go to the next one, Andrea, please? I would like to share with you first a little bit a part of our story. Actually, as Atlas Copco company, we're almost to have 150 years. Actually, this year we're gonna have 150 years as a company. And in Mexico, also this year, we're gonna have 70 years with presence in Mexico. So some specific facts that I will share with you is starting in 1933, as we identified in company as a company, we just identified, sorry for that, a very strong industrial space to make or to create opportunities. So in that time it was created the Atlas Copco first Diesel Mexicana. Right now we changed the name, but as the first time, this was the first one. Based on Torreon, Coahuila, that is very in the north part of Mexico, and started in that operations based on the very specific segment. Then in 1952, the company moves to Mexico City in the new facility, actually in the current facility that we just have right now, and start exploring different other sectors or segments. And then it was found Atlas Copco just Mexicana, SA and DCB. Then, of course, the inauguration for this was inaugurated in 1968 in Tlalnepantla, is our current facility. And then we tried to expand our core and our products through different facilities. Then we have Veracruz, Chiapas, and Luis Potosí. So we increased our footprint in Mexico, trying to really help our customers and our community to really make it better. And in 2011, Atlas Copco have a kind of restructure here in Mexico, because at the beginning it was one big thing, you know. And now, at that time, we just decided as a company to really create the business areas. So it was created 4 of them. It was divided, Atlas Copco Mexicana was divided in compressor technique, mining technique, industrial technique, and construction technique. Right now, the part of the industrial technique, sorry, the mining technique, it was now divided, and it was created Epiroc as a new company, right? So this is part of our current story. And now, of course, Atlas Copco as a part of the strategy really believes a lot on acquisitions and to create more new technologies, such as the innovation that is part of our current core, or current core values, actually. So one of these acquisition is the most recent business area is the vacuum technique, vacuum solution technique. So this is pretty much the history in a brief way, in a very brief way, of Atlas Copco, at least Mexicana, and a little bit of Atlas Copco in general. So actually, we are going to have, as I already mentioned, 70 years here in Mexico. So if we go on to the next one, please, Andrea. This is how is the business areas are yeah, exactly. Thanks. The different areas that it looks like, Rental. We also have a kind of business model of rental, more related to other different specific segments. Oil and gas, energy is part of that. Is the main business that are at that area, and also we really believe on the service part. After sales, after market, how to really support our customers here in Mexico to really make or create value for them. And this is in these pictures is represented all the different service areas for the different business areas. And you can see in the pictures all the different technologies that we are all currently managing. Some compressor, some rental in the left side, for instance. And the other recent acquisition is the Vision Systems that is represented by Isra. That actually it's the name of the business line. It's MBS. Okay, so this is pretty much our current portfolio present actually in Mexico City right now. All of these business areas are based on Tlalnepantla, or in our facility in Tlalnepantla. But we have other different branches, to be honest. So could you please go for the next one, Andrea, please? Two previous ones. Another one, that one. Thank you very much. Okay, this is our footprint currently right now. So as you can see here, we have different facilities for different business areas. But something important to mention here is that these facilities are divided, of course, also for depending on the business in that specific territory. For instance, in Tlalnepantla, of course, we have the headquarters. But for instance, in Coatzacoalcos, Veracruz, it's more related for compressor technique because it's very close to the Gulf and so on. So, but we have other different type of technologies present, like in Puebla with the industrial assembly solutions that is part of our industrial technique business area. In that area, for instance, we are covering companies like Volkswagen, Audi, just for give you some examples. But the most important thing here is that we really believe to be close to the customer, really believe that make business is to be close to the customer. So that's why we have this type of setup as Atlas Copco Mexicana, just to give some hints for this. So if for the next one, please. Previous one, please. Okay, the next one, please. Sorry. The people, that one. So of course, this number here, 434, it's always moving. But right now, I can say that we are around 134 people as a part of the Atlas Copco family. And something important to mention here is something that the ambassador already mentioned. We really believe in the diversity and inclusion. And we have also a lot of trainees in our organization. And actually, we are participating very actively in these type of programs to really make equal conditions for everybody. So part of our recruitment process are very strong and are really based on these type of philosophies. So this is something important to mention here. Then some success stories for you, just to give you part of our main businesses. So if we can go for the next one. Well, some important facts, sorry about that. We really believe to help the community. So this is one of the most important ones, the previous one, the Water for All. It's a kind of initiative that we are just helping to the community to really invest and help the others to, in this case, bring water for all, for each community in Mexico. We know that there is a lot of people really needed this type of vital resource, and we are having a lot of different programs to really help in this way. This is just one of the other ones. We also have the certified of the Empresa Socialmente Responsable, because we really believe in that as well. Some success stories in the industrial technique area. We have customers like Embraco, Nidec, HB, BPO, for instance. Part of our main portfolio or cartera of customers, in where we are really helping to really improve the productivity, actually in Mexico, and we are really adding value to their current chains. So this is pretty much important, but industrial technique is not just the only case. If we can go to the next one, please. We also have another example, or previous one, I don't know, that one, the power technique. This is another customer case that we just have right now. So with all of the different technologies that we just have here, we are trying to really, as I already mentioned, add value and help the industry to really grow and build our country more bigger and more productive. So this is all the slides that I prepared for you, and hope it was interesting for you to hear from my side. And thank you very much for your attention. And I don't know if you have any comment or question.
Thank you very much, Arturo, for your information and explanation about Atlas Copco, and as well as the Nordic Chamber of Commerce in Mexico. About the questions that will be addressed to the panelists, I have invited the people here in the chat. You will find a chat inside the webinar in which we invite you to send your questions through the chat, and I will address them with the panelists depending on the topic that you are asking for. I will address them to the panelists. So please do so. Invite you to use this platform, and we also invite you to answer the poll. There's a poll that has been generated here inside the webinar. You will find it on below. You will find the graphics logo that says polls, and please answer for questions. This will help us in order to identify clearly which is the kind of market that we are talking with what kind of entrepreneurs, which kind of consultants we are talking with, in order to know the kind of sector that you come from. So that will help a lot for our development, for all the other co-organizers here. Will help you out, help us out to focus more on the people that are interested in investing in Mexico. So please do so. Use the polls, use the chats, and well, thank you very much once again to Arturo Valderas for his participation. Let me introduce now that we have passed almost 20 minutes. We started just to introduce myself. I'm Antonio Perea, Head of Trade and Economic Affairs here at the Embassy of Mexico in Sweden. So, in case you need something from the embassy, you can contact me here through the website of the Embassy of Mexico in Sweden. So, after this brief explanation of what we have around to use, then we will follow with the program, which we have the pleasure to talk with next with our following invited is Leonardo Castañeda. Leonardo Castañeda, he's the coordinator. There you go. There's Leonardo. Leonardo Castañeda, he's the coordinator at the Directorate General for Global Investment, that we also have called Global Economic Drive as well, from the Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Please join us on this interesting webinar, and he will talk about a very, very important tool, which is called Prospective Atlas. Please go ahead, Leonardo, with your introduction.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just confirming, can you hear me fine, and can you see my screen right now?
Perfectly.
Perfect. Well, yeah, good day, everyone. It will be my pleasure to tell you about another atlas in this case. So yeah, it is an absolute pleasure being in the virtual company of such a wonderful group of panelists and to have this attendance. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Ambassador Francisco del Rio, it's a pleasure to greet you. Also, Arturo Valderas Gil. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Jenny Engstrom, Country Manager and Trade Commissioner at Business Sweden. And thank you so much for being here and for the opportunity. And of course, Carlos Pereira Sirera, your expertise and participation in this will be certainly very useful for everyone. Today, I will have the pleasure of telling you a bit about the Directorate General for Global Investment and about one of our more ambitious platforms, the Territorial Industrial Prospective Atlas. I want to start by providing just some context about my office that works closely with all the embassies of Mexico around the world. As a reference, just in 2019, the President of Mexico decreed that the international economic promotion activities would be adopted by the Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Now, this is not new. For the Foreign Ministry has been carrying out such activities since the 1970s. So this is just a strategic move following the lead of countries such as Finland that have this kind of a strategy. And in 2021, the General Directorate for Global Investment, in which I have the pleasure to work, was created, which specifically performs 4 activities, which are the ones that you can see over here: international economic promotion and investment attraction. We work as the linkage with federal agencies, international organizations, and businesses. We coordinate trade missions and exhibitions, and we promote Mexico's economic foreign policy. Now, how does this look from the perspective of our tasks and the services we provide to our users, whether they are the embassies of Mexico abroad or the companies, the ones that are right now in this webinar? Well, these are our tasks and areas. We have this division, I believe, will make it a little bit clearer. The economic diplomacy area focuses on coordinating the efforts of our embassies, as well as designing and distributing tailored information, because we understand that talking to the business community in Sweden is different from talking to the business community in Ethiopia or in China or in Chile. The institutional relations area is focused on attending the business chambers, sectoral organizations, and liaisoning with authorities, whether they are federal, municipal, the state level, etc. The bilateral economic relationships team is our technical task force. They support our country's trade negotiations with other countries. Now, the investment and market diversification area works to transmit the business opportunities identified by our embassies to potential suppliers, partners, or partners in Mexico that can be potential investors. So if you are a company that is looking for potential providers in our country, etc., you just need to make your interest explicit to one of our embassies. They will send that to us, and we will use all our intelligence and resources to find an appropriate partner for you. And finally, the strategic projects area, which articulates the promotion of priority initiatives for the Mexican government, such as the Tren Maya, the Transseismic Corridor, and as well as energy projects such as the roadmap for electromobility, which is being currently developed in Mexico under the leadership of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the authorities of California. Finally, one of these projects is the Atlas, which I will have the pleasure of telling you a little bit more about. Well, where does the Atlas come from? This was an endeavor undertaken by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs a little over 2 years ago. It took that time to complete, and we led the design, the process of design and methodology for this process. We took advantage of the multilateral vocation of the ministry, what I personally like to define as the diplomatic muscle, to partner and collaborate with 2 United Nations agencies that specialize in these topics, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization and Human Habitat, the United Nations Agency for Human Settlements. This gave us a result, a very rigorous exercise. the territorial and industrial perspective atlas for the attraction of investments. Now, what does the atlas do? In this part of the presentation, I will give you a brief outline of the scope, but I encourage you to take a look at its content yourselves. At the end of the presentation, I will share a QR code where you will be able to download it. But broadly speaking, the Atlas is an instrument for attracting investments, sustained in urban and regional planning and analysis. What does that mean? Well, first, the Atlas includes a strategic analysis, which we'll describe more in more detail further on. Based on the results of that analysis, it identifies sectors with a great potential for future development in specific territories. With this approach, it determines the regional corridors with ideal characteristics for these sectors to be capitalized. This will allow us, through our embassies and partners and allies abroad, to promote investment in territories and sectors that have a proven potential. But in addition to this, the analysis points out towards having positive social impacts and avoiding and mitigating possible undesired environmental and urban effects. This always aligned with our promises and our tasks to fulfill the 2030 agenda of the United Nations. Now, it is important for us to share the process undertaken to develop this methodology. This with the purpose of conveying to you the rigor behind this tool, because we understand that you need to take, if you're looking for an investment opportunity, it's important for you to have all the information and to know that it has a very solid base. Now, please look at this slide from left to right. In the context of creating this atlas, the methodology, we took in consideration several factors. First were the traditional factors that Ambassador del Rio kindly mentioned at the beginning, such as the geographical advantages of Mexico and its extensive network of commercial treaties. Others were rather circumstantial, given the current international condition, such as the processes of near, ally, and reshoring, and the impacts of COVID-19 in the value chains. After considering these elements, we set ourselves to develop a methodology that will respond to the challenge of increasing Mexico's participation in strategic industries. That is the purpose. We took as a departure point a research study undertaken by Bancomext, which is Mexico's foreign trade bank, about the priority sectors. That gave us an initial universe of 27 sectors. That is where we started. Then, the sectors on this list went through two subsequent analyses. First, at the national level, by identifying which industries have a larger potential for the attraction of investments. These consider factors such as the size of the market and the size of the competitors, among others. But in this phase, we also introduced an academic methodology developed by economists Ravelotti and Giuliani to understand the collective efficiency, the innovation, and the openness of the markets. And the second analysis was an analysis with an international point of view, using indicators for the global value chains, such as the global commercial balance, innovation, among others. All the numbers here, all the statistics here came from UNCTAD, from OCDE, etc. These were some of the fundamental steps that allowed us to identify the 5 priority sectors in the Atlas, which are the pharmaceutical, manufacture of wind turbines, the petrochemical, the aerospace, and agro-industry, with an emphasis on vanilla and chocolate. Now, once we identified the sectors, the sector's value chains were examined, allowing us to identify factors such as the roles and the links, as well as the interrelation between the 5 sectors. This way, we mapped the components of each of the links of the 5 identified sectors, which allowed us to understand how they are interrelated. An example of this is this that you can see over here, this little image is the petrochemical sector. The Atlas shows you how it is interrelated with the other 4 sectors and how it can combine its potential. Now, once the links in each of the sectors were evaluated, a territorial industrial analysis of all municipalities of the country was done. Just as a reference, Mexico has 2,400 municipalities, so all of them were considered. This was done with the objective of understanding the capacity to attract industrial activities in such municipalities. With the resulting information, the relation between the territory and the 5 sectors was analyzed. This analysis was made to understand in what parts of Mexico there was a greater potential to develop these 5 industries, observing factors such as housing, climate, urban services, universities. Just as a fact, as a reference, the atlas gives you the density or the availability of facilities for childcare or for aged care in each of the clusters. That is the level of analysis that this instrument provides you. And this, after considering all of these processes and this analysis, this gave us as a result the proposal of 5 corridors. Number 1, Monterrey, Saltillo, La Laguna for wind turbines. Number 2, La Laguna, Durango, and Mazatlán, Culiacán for pharmaceuticals. I see that there's someone from Durango over here, so just consider this. Number 3, Chihuahua for aerospace. Number 4, Coatzacoalcos, Villahermosa, Palenque for agro-industrial. And number 5, Tamaulipas for petrochemical products. Now, some of you may not be very familiar with all these regions, so just as a reference, this is how it looks like. Aerospace, pharmaceutical, wind turbines, petrochemical, and agro-industrial. There's a particularity about petrochemical because even though it is localized over here, the atlas identified particular parts of the value chain for the petrochemical sector in each of the clusters for the other 4 sectors, and that is because of the interrelation analysis that we undertook. Now, allow me to share with you some of the findings of the sectors and corridors, which in addition are the arguments that we are promoting in the Foreign Ministry of Foreign Affairs in order to attract investments and always with the support of our embassies. This slide shows on the left side the national and global conditions identified for the sector. The boxers in the center show the factors that validate the potential to receive the investments. And finally, the section on the right shows the conditions that the corridor offers to foreign investment, why it makes sense to invest in this sector in that area. Now, first, starting with agro-industry, we in the agro-industrial sector, the analysis focused on chocolate and vanilla, and the global analysis showed a growing demand for both products with growth rates over 4.5 per year. And for example, the demand for cocoa derivatives and high quality chocolate, as well as the demand for vanilla in the pharmaceutical and cosmetic industries are the factors driving this growth. The national analysis highlighted the role of agribusiness in the national GDP and showed favorable balances in recent years. This because we have been improving some infrastructure and also because of the availability of innovation of technology. Now, finally, vanilla and cocoa, in particular, they stand out for their social relevance in Mexico and their extensive use in the Mexican culinary industry. Now, why does it make sense to promote the sector? The Atlas identifies 3 main factors. Number 1, the sector uses more domestic inputs than any other industries, so its development positively affects other sectors. Number 2, its production is located in one of the least developed regions in the country. Consequently, it has a significant social impact. And number 3, there is potential for diversification into other sectors. An example of this would be ecotourism. Now, onto the territorial analysis. It considers 34 municipalities in the states that I mentioned before. It identifies ideal climatic conditions, the potential to take advantage of the region's ports, as well as the transseismic corridor that is currently under development. It detects that the municipalities in the region are the most productive at the national level in agribusiness. And it highlights factors such as the possible interrelation with the petrochemical industry of Coatzacoalcos, or in Veracruz, or the availability of research institutions, among others. The same exercise was done with the pharmaceutical sector, especially considering its relevance in the face of the health crisis by COVID-19. Again, on the global stage, the pharmaceutical industry estimated it's currently was estimated at 1.3 trillion in value in 2019, with a growth rate of 4.6 annually. One of the factors that was most affected or considered in the manufacturing of pharmaceutical preparations is the high dependence on China and India in the supply of APIs. Now, the national analysis highlights its strategic role by concentrating three main activities that support the industry: manufacture of organic basic chemicals, the preparation of pharmaceutical substances, and the manufacture of raw materials. All of this was identified as an already existing capability in Mexico in that area. And in addition, it represents 1.7% of the national GDP, and it accounts in that regard to 9.8% of the manufacturing GDP. Now, why does it make sense to promote this sector? Well, the importance of the Mexican market as the second largest in Latin America and the 12th largest worldwide. Number two, the sector is a driver of self-sufficiency opportunities and as a strategic supplier to Latin America and the rest of the world, particularly, again, considering crises such as the COVID-19 crisis. And in addition, there are positive externalities. For example, 10 of the top 20 activities in the value chain that we identified have an average use of domestic inputs greater than 50%. Now, the territorial analysis highlights, it identified 17 municipalities that connect in all of these states. There's a potential of collaboration with institutes and research and centers for the development of projects related to pharmaceutical research and biotechnology. It has proximity to major seaports and customs crossings in the north. And there's a high level of training and education of personnel employed in this corridor. So the conditions are already there. About the aerospace sector, the aerospace market analysis, as you know, is expected to reach close to $358 billion by 2023. Hence, the relevance of the aerospace industry in the formation of human capital with sufficient skills to compete in international markets. Now, regarding the national analysis, Mexico's favorable geographic location stands out, as it is located in the region with the greatest contribution to the aerospace industry worldwide, which is North America. The aerospace industry is an attractive business. Its production benefits activities of other strategic industries, such as the automotive, electrical, and electronic manufacturers. And these are very well-established industries in Mexico. So there's a large history of industrial expertise there. On the other hand, there are benefits to the south of the country, since the production of copper rolling inputs, which are necessary in this industry, would generate an industrial scaling that incorporates other industries as suppliers. Now, why does it make sense to promote this sector? The value of the market and its growth. The industry represents one of the sectors with the greatest potential and dynamism in the economy due to the high degree of technology and sophistication of its products. Number two, the national efforts and public policies focused on having high quality productive vocations. For example, the linkage of multinational companies for the development of innovation projects within the CIMAB Research Institute located in Chihuahua. CIMAB is a very well-respected, international recognized institute that specializes in innovation. And finally, a competitive advantage to promote innovation activities linked to intermediate inputs, such as internal combustion engines, power distribution equipment, etc. The territorial analysis, the Chihuahua corridor identifies factors such as a significant number of companies dedicated to the aerospace sector, which are already established there. There's a high availability of of skilled labor, training of employed personnel, and the existence of employed personnel with a high school or higher degree education. And as I mentioned before, the presence of CIMAP. The wind turbines sector or industry. As we all are aware, the industry worldwide is making technological advances to reduce costs in the wind turbine manufacturing processes, which is a growth factor in the global market. Mexico has a favorable geographic locations for the development of new wind energy exploitation field. And we can supply components for this industry to the major consumers in China and the United States. Now, why does it make sense to promote this sector? Number one, the presence of national and multinational companies dedicated to exports. Number two, a suitable economic ecosystem with highly skilled labor and the presence of research institutes and the existence of specialized companies for supplying this sector. And finally, the availability of components in other value chains, especially the aerospace sector, etc. It complements this industry. In relation to the territorial analysis, it identified 38 municipalities that can provide for this sector, and considers, number one, the agglomeration and proximity of suppliers and manufacturers of components in the sectors. Number two, the strategic territorial location for the attraction of investments because of its proximity to customs point in the northeast of the country. And number three, the linkage between research institutes and private initiative for projects in the sector. All of this already exists in this area. And finally, the analysis for the petrochemical sector in the Atlas highlights the following. The industry is vital in numerous industrial processes and provides raw materials for a wide variety of products used in the automotive, construction, and manufacturing industries. The global market is always growing with a growth rate of 5%, and it is expected to reach over 651 billion by 2027. North America is the third region in the world with the highest demand for the petrochemical products, behind just Europe and Asia. And Mexico has key products, is already a key manufacturer of products such as PET black plastics, petrochemical fertilizers, paints, and coatings. Now, why does it make sense to promote this sector? As I mentioned before, there's a close interrelation with the rest of the sectors. Two examples: the linkage between the petrochemical industry and the aerospace and the wind turbine manufacturing sectors is noted in the decrease of imports with the production of paints, of coatings, of wiring, and internal components. In the case of the agro-industrial and pharmaceutical industries, this sector provides key inputs for the production processes, and it does so with domestic inputs, thus reducing costs. This, again, is particularly important for the municipalities located in historically lagging areas of the country. The territorial analysis. In the Tamaulipas sector corridor, the following can be distinguished. There's a high presence of large companies with export vocation and multinational capital. There's a presence of economic units that operate in different productive links of other strategic sectors. And the municipalities with capabilities for the production and development of the sector are also located in the corridors for the other four sectors. I'm very conscious about the time. I would just like to share with you the QR code so you can download this atlas. Again, we provided a very brief description of all the information. I hope there are many questions. We will be more than happy to provide you with an answer to discuss this further. We currently have an executive summary both in English and Spanish. The full document is currently only in Spanish. We're in the process of translating it. But yeah, that's it from our side. Thank you very much.
Leonardo, thank you very much for great explanation about the atlas, prospective atlas. As you said, it's a short one because the real documents are more than 500 pages. So it's a long way to go to explain all the prospective atlas in one session. So if they have some doubts, he has left, Leonardo has left some his email address and stuff. So please contact him if you have any doubts. One of the questions that in the chat they have addressed is if we're going to be able to share the material. So yes, we have here Andrea Parra, General Manager for the Nordic Chamber of Commerce. So I believe we will be able to share that those materials, right, Andrea?
Yes, we will send it to all the persons that register. So after this finish, we will send it to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So let's continue with our agenda here. Let me introduce Carlos Perez Cicera. He's expert in international trade and foreign investment, and he's a former trade commissioner for ProMexico in Sweden. Please join us, Carlos. Thank you very much for coming to this webinar.
Thank you very much, Antonio. Good to see you guys. I hope you can see my screen and hear me okay.
You're okay.
So, great. So for my side, being part of companies doing trade and with more than 10 years in experience in trade, I usually do 3 questions. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my experience a little bit later on. But I focus on 3 things when somebody is looking at a country or a region when investing or doing trade. So I'll talk a little bit about foreign direct investment and international trade upon my experiences and perspective. So the first question is why? Why should you choose a country or region? Why is it? What are you looking for? Is it manufacture? Is it business partner? Is it joint venture? So is it sales? Because there's also companies that want to sell, want to penetrate the market, looking for regions and sales. So the first question you should do to your management team is why. The second one is how and who you should partner with, and the third one is when and the opportunities. So with this in mind, I'll go to my next slide and tell you good reasons. So if you want to sell, you want to integrate yourself into value chains, or you're looking to a US market, Mexico is a fantastic place. I've been talking about Mexico for many, many years, and I see not just 5 competitive advantages that Mexico has, but 7. The macroeconomic environment in the north part of Mexico, in the north part of America, having Mexico part of North America, is very relevant. It's the second market in the world, consumption market in the world. And we have a gateway, not just to the US. We've talked about trade agreements. We've talked about business partners. We can talk about the Pacific Alliance. We talk about NAFTA, the new NAFTA. We can talk about Trans-Pacific Alliance. We can talk about the new trade agreement with Europe, etc. But it is a gateway, and it is a gateway to America. So I also see human capital very relevant. Our curve is also, we are a young country, and I've always said this. We are a young country, and we are a country that's been educated. So the media of Mexico, the Mexicans are between 26 and 28 years old. So we are a young country, and we have a lot of young people that want to go into the labor force. So we have an internal market that's growing. Our middle class is very stable, and it is a very, very interesting internal market for consumption. So we have their consumption and sales. We have gateway to America, a fantastic location. We have infrastructure in Mexico. We have deep sea ports, and of course we have airports, and the infrastructure is there. So we have a sophisticated economy when it comes to manufacture, and Leonardo has been talking about this, but I see that our sophisticated economy talks about not just sophisticated manufacture, but also sophisticated labor force. So overall, manufacture costs are really relevant because you have competitors in the US, and I've been fighting projects with the US and Canada, and there's always the cost issue there in mind. So overall manufacture costs are really, really relevant for a lot of investors. And this is something that you should also ask yourself. And the last one is productivity, because we didn't have this one in the equation from the beginning, but I think it's really relevant. And when we have sub-suppliers establishing in Mexico, one of our success stories was Titan X, and they said, no, wait, hold on a minute. The cost is just part of the equation. We have fantastic costs. We have lower costs than manufacturer in the North America. But wait a second, we have fantastic productivity. Mexicans are fantastic and very productive. So knowledge and skilled people you have in Mexico. You have fantastic training activities in all around states in Mexico. So this is something that the states have been doing for the last 10 years, preparing for foreign direct investment, preparing schools, universities, and prepare personnel, and helping companies train their employees. So this is something that Titan X did really well. It was helped with one of the states to train the personnel, and it was a fantastic study of productivity success case. So what about Sweden, and what has been done, and who is investing, and who has invested in Mexico? Has been right or wrong? So there's over 500 companies in Mexico that has Nordic participation in Mexico. So these companies have over, I can say, 160 to 200,000 jobs in Mexico. That's a fantastic job creation in Mexico. And some of them have been in Mexico for a long time. And some of them have been in the latest 10 years, investing and putting a lot of effort into Mexico. And so some of them are these. Some of them, you know, ABB, Alfa Laval, Arla, Assa Abloy, AstraZeneca, Atlas Copco. Some of them are integrated into the value chains that Leonardo talked about, specifically the automotive. There's a lot of automotive opportunities in Mexico, especially for Swedish tier 2s, tier 3s. So, and the same for the mining industry. So, and we've been working with other industries that have been very successful, other than the ones Leonardo talked about. But these are some of the success cases in Mexico and companies that are really pushing forward and have been right in their decision to invest in Mexico. These are the locations. Most of the manufacture takes place in the north part of Mexico, where the Electrolux is located, and the center part of Mexico, where some of the other companies are located. Very well established in Jalisco. The automotive was really relevant in Guanajuato, in Zacatecas, and the mid part of Mexico, state of Mexico. Ericsson, Volvos, ABB, etc. So there's a lot of Nordic presence in Mexico, and there's a lot of companies that can tell you about their success story in Mexico. So this is some of them that have been putting the example. In the latest year, IKEA, it was one of my projects, and it is a success story, and a super huge opportunity to develop the furniture and apparel and home accessory industry. SKF, with a fantastic presence in Mexico, doing really well, integrating into the value chain, the automotive, and of course, Volvo Group. So these are some of the example major companies with investment in Mexico. And of course, we can't avoid talking about the clusters, because Mexico has been doing an effort, really big effort, to integrate not just value chain clusters, but also research and development. So from my experience, there is a huge opportunity in research and development, science, innovation and technology. So science, innovation and technology, there's a lot of companies that find Mexico a fantastic place to put their research centers and develop Ford is one of them, and we find other companies that have a fantastic research and development centers in Mexico. So, and they find skilled people, and they find raw materials, and they find connectivity to their main clients. So this is really, really important to look at as well. Infrastructure. Of course, I've been talking about ports. I've been talking about airports. We have Manzanillo, Lázaro Cárdenas. Lázaro Cárdenas was developed for the automotive industry. It is a port that can carry and can deal with all the automotive industry in Mexico in order to be an export port in the most important in Mexico. We have Tamaulipas on the other side. So we have ports on both sides, but we also have amazing efforts done by industrial parks in Mexico. So the AMPIP, everybody knows, Mexican Association of Industrial Parks, and they have the map of where the industrial parks are located and where the clusters. So we had a lot of help from AMPIP in order to map the clusters, map the actors, map the tier ones, tier twos, the OEMs, and of course the sub-suppliers. So here are the most, they know where the most important hubs are located and where the most important industrial parks are located. So they are a fantastic partner when you want to establish in Mexico. And here is a map where you can see some of the locations. Aerospace, I can see also that Querétaro, not just in the north, but Querétaro has also been developing really fast in aerospace. And of course, all the automotive industry in the central part of Mexico. And what does an industrial park offer? Not just the warehouse, but also you can find industrial parks that can help you out with turnkey delivery solutions. So if you want to establish yourself and you don't want to do greenfield and build yourself, there's obviously a lot of options. You can have shelters, built to suit, turnkey solutions of already built warehouses and so on. So we had a really good experience with Amistad. There's Finsa as well. There's a lot of strong actors there in the north, especially Amistad. And the central part of Mexico, you can find also good partners. So how? And I love Star Wars, and I just wanted to have this picture in my presentation because this is how you feel when you come to Mexico. You have your weapon. You just landed. I don't know how, but you want to penetrate this planet and find Yoda. So how do you do it? You find yourself like Han Solo there. And of course you're not alone. You have a lot of actors. I mean, I really believe in strategic alliances, and this is something that I did really well. Of course you have Chamber of Commerce, the Nordic Chamber of Commerce. You have the Mexican government doing a fantastic job there in the embassy. I'm really proud to have such an ambassador there in Sweden and Antonio there with him. You also have Business Sweden and the embassy, and of course foreign relaciones exteriores. So Greenfield, M&As, joint ventures. There is fantastic good Mexican companies with a lot of local knowledge. So there's all of these. How do you want to do it? There is expertise in Mexico that can help you. So you must have the two ways. I always believed in two ways. You must have a lot of experts in Scandinavia. You must have strategic alliances in Scandinavia, but also in Mexico. So Chambers, government, private sector, very important. And of course, both Scandinavia and Mexico. So togetherness, tillsammans, like we said in IKEA, is really, really important, and do things together. Some of the alliances, I've worked a lot with FKG, FKG, the car supplier industry in Sweden. Fantastic guys. I've worked with most of these guys during my years, and they're all open to work with both Team Sweden, of course, as Nordic Chamber of Commerce, of course, the relationship with DI and Denmark and Finland is also very, very strong. So, and Norway as well. So Innovation Norway works fantastic, the Danish industry as well. Norsk Industry, I've been working with the Norwegian Chambers of Commerce, and of course, Team Sweden and Jenny and her team are doing a fantastic job in Mexico. So, as I said, you're not alone. You have, and you should use all these strategic alliances. What you should you be looking for? Services that you can find with these actors. How can they help you out is really important. Jenny will talk a little bit about this, and this is something that also the Nordic Chamber of Commerce can do for you, as well as the embassy. Industry analysis, you've heard Leonardo, there's fantastic information there. Databases are also fantastic to see if Leonardo can also do that. Identification of business partners, business agendas, link between companies, advice on commercial activities, and of course, commercial relationships, meeting, calls, visits. This is something that Business Sweden does really well, but also the Nordic Chamber of Commerce can do. Advice on business plans, documents, translations, and link with authorities. And this is something that was really relevant for us at IKEA when we landed, link with authorities, embassies, chambers. So this is also something that you can find. When is it the right time? Everybody's asking himself, should we invest now? Why? The pandemic, logistics are extremely high, costly. It is difficult to establish and start operations in a country in the middle of the pandemic. But when do you invest? When do you really take these opportunities? When the market is down? Of course you do. The time is now. The time is when everybody is waking up again, when we have we've been learning from the pandemic. We've been learning that you should be there at the right time and at the right place. And the right time and the right place is now, because the costs are low. People are really willing to do business. And of course, you find really good partners, established partners that can do a joint venture, do an M&A, buy a Mexican company and have that opportunity. Mexican company with a lot of expertise, technology already there, but it's lacking some of the things that a Swedish company or a Nordic company can offer. So opportunities that I see, Leonardo has been talking about sectors and industries. This is fantastic. I agree with each and every one of them. But from my point of view, of course, the value chain integration towards NAFTA, the new trade agreement with the US, there is missing links in the main manufacturing value chains, and the automotive has still missing links in their tier 2s, tier 3s, tiers. So I see there's a lot of opportunities there to come in and integrate, to purchase, do an M&A, or just greenfield. A lot of companies already have clients in Mexico and already have clients in the US. So local market is important. And of course, looking at the north part of Mexico and South America is really important. So automotive, I still find there's a lot of gaps in the automotive industry. Of course, the electric cars are coming. All the automotive industry, like Volvo, they are putting all their efforts into just producing electric and hybrid cars. So I find a lot of opportunities here. The aerospace, medical devices, electronic. There's this one, IT, software and hardware. IT hasn't been mentioned by Leonardo. I think is really relevant. We have in the center part of Mexico, in Guadalajara, we have the Jaltis. We have these guys that have been putting a lot of effort into this industry. We have the creative industry there in Guadalajara, and we have the IT developing like a train. So Guadalajara has been doing a lot of efforts there, and Mexico City as well, in the IT, software and hardware. And of course, the telecommunication will be growing in Mexico. We have a lot of opportunities there. We have almost 85% or 90% of Mexicans with an iPhone. So development there with apps, with new technologies, with telecom as well. There is a huge opportunity there in the telecom. There's going to be a lot of investment in the coming years there. Textile and furniture will be something that will be developed by IKEA. And textile and furniture, I think there's the opportunity for Mexico to bring back the textile industry, to open up and start bringing that expertise, that technology to have a much better textile and furniture and more competitive textile and furniture industry. And of course, energy. Leonardo has been talking about the new projects from the Mexican government. And of course, renewables. I don't believe renewables will stop. I think it's just the beginning, not just in Mexico, but worldwide. So energy will be also, we have Vestas, we have the Spanish companies there, and it will not stop. So, so this is for me, the opportunities that I see. This is, hello again, Carlos Perez Cirera, and this is my experience. I've been part of the Nordic Chamber of Commerce. I've been Mexico's Trade Commissioner for almost 7 years. And I worked for IKEA for about 3 years. So I brought the project as well as H&M. H&M is one of my babies as well. So I've been working with trade for almost 14 years, doing business between Mexico and the Nordic. And I speak Swedish and Danish. So tack så jättemycket. Thank you very much for listening. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you, Andrea. Ambassador, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Antonio and Leonardo, for all the effort. You're doing a fantastic job there for foreign direct investment. And congratulations to you, Arturo, for being president now of the Nordic Chamber of Commerce, and all the luck in the world. Thank you, Andrea.
Gracias, Carlos.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you very much for your great presentation. Let's move on as our time is running out. Please, let's move out with Jenny Engstrom. Jenny Engstrom, she's the country manager and trade commissioner for Business Sweden in Mexico. She's a great ally of Mexico, and she has been here at the embassy together with our ambassador. So. And she's now doing a great job there in Mexico. So please join us, Jenny, for your introduction for Business Sweden.
Thank you, Antonio. How nice to be here. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. So my name is Jenny Engström. I'm the country manager and trade commissioner for Business Sweden here in Mexico. I also cover Central America and the Caribbean. And I'm very happy to see that you could join us today. I notice we have both Mexicans and Swedes in the audience, and that's very nice to see. And I will introduce you to Business Sweden, and I will focus on how we can support you with the soft landing if you decide to enter the Mexican markets. I will also mention our consulting services and some of our promotional activities that we will be doing this year, and where you are more than welcome to participate. I will also show you my contact details at the end of this presentation. So let's start. Business Sweden, it's a company that is 50% owned by the Swedish government and 50% owned by private sector. Our purpose is to help Swedish companies grow global sales. and international companies to invest and expand in Sweden. So when I go to my office in the mornings, my goal with my work each day is to put Swedish enterprise in global lead. And how do we do that? As you can see here, we have quite a strong global coverage. We are present in more than 40 markets. And in Americas, where I'm located, we have an office here in Mexico City, as well as in Colombia, in Chile, Brazil. In the US, we have 3 offices. And then up in Canada, we have 1 office. And we work quite tight together in the Americas region. We are 400 people or more than 400 people globally. And we have a very strong emphasis on hiring local experts who really knows the local market. So in Mexico, I have a Mexican team with local experts, talents, and management consultants. We work within 7 ecosystems: smart industries, smart transport, smart energy, new materials, digital technologies, life science, creative industries, and food. And we have several consulting services: sales acceleration, market expansion, business to government. I will talk about them later. We also have the business incubation and operation, and this is what I call soft landing, that I will put some extra emphasis on. And we have our promotion activities. In Mexico, Business Sweden is strongly connected to the Swedish Embassy, which gives us a unique mandate and helps us open doors for Swedish companies in the Mexican market. Since we're also partly owned by the Swedish government, we have some services for small and medium-sized enterprises that are free of charge, such as export coaching. It's a service for small companies that are just starting to explore the possibility to become global. We also have export programs, that is our consulting and promotion activities, that can be subsidized up to 50% by the Swedish government. So let's look into our soft landing. So the purpose with this soft landing services from Business Sweden is to make it easy for you to enter a new market, to have someone who understands where you come from, Swedish values, Swedish culture, but also understands the new market, the Mexican values, the Mexican business culture, so that you have someone that can advise you and support you when you grow globally. And when you're about to, you notice that you're about to increase business, or that you have a great opportunity in, for example, Mexico, and you would like to hire a team of, say, sales personnel that can focus 100% on sales in Mexico, but you don't want to start your local company just yet, then you can employ these resources through Business Sweden. So they can actually work for us, but working 100% for you. And we provide HR, the payroll support. We handle social security, tax issues. We comply with local labor laws, etc. We also have a co-working space here in the office where I'm located right now in Mexico City, where you can rent your own desk and have your own office set up. You can also have an address here when you're just entering Mexico City if you need a physical location to send mail, etc. We have conference rooms and so on. And when it's time for you to make a bigger footprint and to start your own subsidiary, we can, of course, do that for you as well. So we advise on legal entities, we prepare the necessary documentation, we register you with local authorities, and we open your local bank account. And then we can manage the finance and controlling for you as well. Everything from day-to-day accounting, payments, invoicing, monthly reporting, annual reports, and so on. And this is a quite popular service that we provide at Business Sweden. I think globally we have around 700 companies that are taking part in some of these services. So this is to make it easy for Swedish companies to enter a new market and grow internationally. For Sweden depends, as many of you know, on exports, and we are here to make it easy for Swedish companies to go into the foreign markets. So, looking a little bit closer on consulting. We have several different types of consulting projects that we do together with Swedish companies. My last recruitment was actually a management consultant from McKinsey, and I would say that we're pretty strong in this segment. And right now we see a very clear trend here in Mexico. It's quite a lot of companies, Swedish and international companies, that want to move their production from China to Mexico. So we have been working with this quite a lot latest years, and currently I have 3 ongoing projects in the office where we support Swedish companies who are moving production from China to Mexico. So we help them with location, importing machinery, find new partners, new suppliers, set up the logistics chain, etc. And mainly I would say it's 3 reasons that make companies decide to move to Mexico. One basic reason is that they have, or they believe that they soon will have, a very strong customer base in the US. Secondly, during the pandemic, the logistics situation has been quite special. So if you have a large customer base in Americas and you have production in Asia, you have difficulties to predict times of the deliveries and the costs of the deliveries. And that's also a reason why Swedish companies want to come to Mexico. And then we have the geopolitical tension between US and China that many companies see as a risk. And we at Business Sweden agree. But we don't only work with moving production. We also have this leg, market expansion. And that might be a company who is already established in Mexico or who want to enter into the Mexican market and wants us to investigate which one of the product lines that they should promote in Mexico. Perhaps they want a second opinion on the market size, or maybe they want us to very discreetly double check information that they get from one of their distributors. We also look at competitors, price levels, and so on. I also have some of my consultants hired right now within sales acceleration to work with sales for Swedish companies. So instead of having a salesperson in Americas, you use one of my consultants to work with the sales, supporting in customer contacts, proposal, tender support, opening new customer segments, etc. And just as Carlos mentioned here just before me, Mexico is a gateway to the Americas. And from Mexico, you can support both North and South America with people who speak English and Spanish, and you get it for a very reasonable cost. We also work with M&As, supporting the targets list, etc. Within this business to government leg, we can, for example, map a governmental institution, use our official name to open doors on a high level. We can facilitate meetings, and there we have a quite bit of help from being part of the embassy. And important then to stress again is that those consultant services mostly can be subsidized for small and medium-sized enterprises up to 50%. Yes. And finally, I'm going to tell you a little bit on our agenda, or some parts of the agenda for promotional activities that we are planning to do this year together with the Swedish Embassy here in Mexico. And this is, Carlos also mentioned this, it's what we call Team Sweden, and that is when we partner with the Swedish Embassy, or we partner with other Swedish institutions to promote Swedish solutions. And the purpose of these activities that we're planning is to promote Swedish solutions companies to local states in Mexico. And on this map, you can see where we plan to be active during 2022. And we adapt the agenda quite a lot according to the opportunities for Swedish companies, or where they have an interest or where they want us to be active. For example, now this year, Nuevo León up here will have a elicitation coming up for electrical buses and infrastructure. And then what we do is that we go there together with the Swedish companies, we present solutions, and we're rather good at e-mobility in Sweden. We have a cluster of companies who can provide different types of solutions. We can also help to bring Nuevo León back to Sweden. For example, a company might want to show a best case in Sweden or want someone to visit their factory and show production, etc. Last year, we were very active here in Guanajuato and in Querétaro. And what we did was that we took 10 companies to sit down with governors, secretaries, project managers, to get a chance to present solutions and to talk about how they wanted to support these states with solving their issues. And this year, what we're planning to do is to follow up on the events we were doing in Guanajuato and in Querétaro. So we will have a sustainability forum with the state congress in Guanajuato, most likely in June or July. If everything goes as planned, the governor of Querétaro will also visit Sweden, and hopefully in June. And the topics will be mobility, energy, and healthcare. Then we will have our tour with the ambassador in Business Sweden, where we will visit several states in Mexico. And what we do in these meetings is that we have high-level stakeholders, such as state governors, city mayors, secretaries within energy, healthcare, mobility, as well as private sector representatives, such as industrial chambers. And we sit down and coordinate two programs or forums for the Swedish companies within mobility and healthcare so that they can promote solutions. And this year we will start now in March in Guadalajara, and then we will go most probably up to Monterrey. We will also go to Ciudad Mexico, Estado de Mexico, Puebla, and Mérida. And as I mentioned, you are so much welcome to participate. I will show you my contact information. And I will also post it in the chat if I can open it. I will post it later. So if you have any questions, if you want to participate, if you are coming to Mexico, or just give me a call, send me a WhatsApp, come by the office, we have a coffee. I'm so happy every time I meet companies here. So we really try to keep the community quite strong, and we have both Mexicans and Swedes participating. So just let me know if you're nearby. I'm also coming to Sweden quite often, so we could also meet up in Sweden if you would prefer. And you are all very welcome to Business Sweden. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jenny, for your wonderful presentation. And I hope you can contact Business Sweden, who is a great ally of the Embassy of Mexico. And thank you very much. Thank you, everyone who has stayed on this webinar. We are very past on time. I believe the presentations have been very important. Now we will continue just to probably one question that we will be able to answer. There's a very interesting question from Edwin, who is he's asking about his question is, with the disappearance of ProMexico, what is currently being done to expose potential investment partners in the Nordics to the opportunities available in Mexico, particularly within the 5 sectors mentioned in the Atlas project? Is there a coordinated global regional effort to make these arguments and findings reach key stakeholders? And I believe the correct person to answer this will be Leonardo Castañeda. Please go ahead and answer what you already answered on the chat, Leonardo.
Antonio, thank you, and Edwin, thank you very much. Again, it's a really interesting question, and of course, yeah. As I was just mentioning in the chat, all these responsibilities, economic promotion responsibilities, were adopted by Cancillería, by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Mexico. And then again, this gives us over 100 doors around the world that potential investors, foreign business people, and of course the Mexican business community can knock in order to obtain information, and but also the consulates and the embassies, they are, as I mentioned, our experts on the ground. And they can reach those decision makers from these sectors that we mentioned in the Atlas, but also from all the sectors that were highlighted by Carlos and all the other, the other panelists with that information. And we also work, of course, with the national chambers. Again, a proof of that is this webinar. So those are kind of the activities that we're undertaking. And this is all part of our economic diplomacy strategy. We are constantly providing our embassies with training, with strategic information, and we are also coordinating their efforts. And also inside Mexico, we work with other ministries and other trade agencies, other foreign investment agencies over here, so that the process of locating suppliers, identifying investment opportunities, and that process of arriving in Mexico, as if you were just arriving in Dagoba in order to find Yoda, so that it is as friendly and as accessible as possible. We have that working group with all the other ministries and with the states. I see that there are representatives of some states over here, so we have already established that communication. So that is how we are tackling that effort. Yeah, thank you so much, Antonio, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Leonardo. And as you said, we have several SEDECOs from several states of Mexico, which represent the economic departments inside the states. Thank you very much for coming. And I believe we have to be wrapping up this webinar as time has consumed. Very interesting. As Andrea said, she will be sending over the material for this presentation, so you can have and analyze it. And probably we will be able to upload it in YouTube. Andrea, yeah, probably this will be probably uploaded in YouTube. Yes. So you will have the presentation also available for your review. And so having said that, I want to thank Ambassador Francisco del Rio, ambassador here in Mexico and Sweden, for his participation and working on this webinar for the promotion of Mexico, specifically for Sweden. I want to thank as well the Nordic Chamber of Commerce President Arturo Valderas Gil. I want to thank Leonardo Castañeda, Deputy Coordinator at the Global Investment, and also Carlos Perez Siguera, Expert International Trade, Gina Engstrom from Business Sweden, Country Manager and Trade Commissioner of Business Sweden. And well, thank you very much, everyone. So we will be sending the materials for your reference. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day and week. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.